Good morning students. In today's class we are going to see dielectric, polarization, boundary condition between conductor to dielectrics, boundary condition between dielectric to dielectric. Dielectrics and polarization. So in this complete chapter we will consider the insulating materials as dielectric. Such materials will differ from conductor in that ideally there won't be any free charges that could be transported within them to produce the current conduction. So there won't be any current conduction because of the dielectric material. Therefore, an applied electric field has the effect of displacing the charges slightly, leading to the formation of ensemblance of the electric dipoles. This process is called as your polarization. And the polarization concept is discussed. Two major groups of polarization we have. First one is going to be a non-polar polarization. Second group is going to be the polar non-polar and polar polarization. Here the non-polar polarization is going to be, it is a dielectric that do not possess permanent electric dipole moment. Instead, the electric dipole moment can be induced by placing the materials in an externally applied electric field. This is the diagram that is showing the non-polar dielectrics. Two major groups of dielectrics in the non-polar dielectric and polar dielectric. Under non-polar dielectric, the dielectric will not possess any permanent electric pole dipole moment. Instead, the electric dipole moment can be induced by placing the materials in an externally applied field as shown over here in the externally applied field. The next group is going to be your polar dielectrics. Under polar dielectrics, the dielectric will possess a permanent dipole moment, which are ordinarily randomly oriented but which become more or less oriented by the application of your electric field. So it could be more or less oriented with the application of the electric field. Here with the application not E equal to 0, it is randomly oriented. Here it is shown with the example of water. Boundary condition. So two boundary conditions we are going to see. One is boundary condition between conductor to dielectric and dielectric to conductor. Why we need to read this boundary condition in the sense to understand the behavior of the fields at the interface between any two materials having different properties. To understand the concept of the boundary condition, here we are going to focus on to our electric and magnetic field. In case of electrostatics, boundary condition for electrostatics is there, boundary condition for magnetostatics is there. In case of boundary condition for electrostatics, the two terms where we are going to get it focuses, one is your electric field intensity and the other one is going to be your electric flux density. So to have the analysis towards your electric field intensity and electric flux density, we have two types of analysis. One is tangential component analysis and normal component analysis. To understand the behavior of your electric field and electric flux density. First one will see the boundary condition between conductor and free space. So when you see the boundary condition between the conductor and free space, as we discussed, we are going to have two component analysis. One is your normal component analysis and second one is going to be the tangential component analysis. In normal component analysis, we will be analyzing the electric field component. In tangential component analysis, we will be analyzing the electric flux density component analysis. For tangential component analysis, we are going to assume a rectangular contour. Whereas for normal component analysis, we will assume a Gaussian cylinder. This is the diagram showing the boundary. It is the boundary. Top face is going to be of free space and bottom of your boundary is going to be the conductor. To perform tangential component analysis, we are going to have the normal component analysis is going to be analyzed by means of your Gaussian surface and tangential component is going to be analyzed by means of your rectangular contour. First, we will do a tangential component analysis. In tangential component analysis, we will be focusing on electric field intensity, whereas in normal component analysis, electric flux density will be focused. We know that the electric field potential in a closed path. For example, you consider this is going to be the potential V. You are going to short circuit this path. So when you short circuit, the potential will be equal to 0. Across this, if you measure the potential, it is going to be 0. Therefore, we can write according to Maxwell's second equation, V is equal to integral over the closed line E dot dl, which is equal to 0, because in a closed line integral it is equal to 0. Now consider the rectangular contour ABCDA as shown in this figure. So in the figure, whatever it has been shown, you consider the rectangular contour. Rectangular contour is meant to analyze your tangential component analysis. When you assume the rectangular contour, it is going to be the rectangular contour A, B, C, D, A. It is going to be your width and this is going to be your H. In this, the path is going to be traced in clockwise direction and therefore the electric field intensity is divided into 4 parts. From A to B, one electric field intensity. From B to C, another electric field intensity. From C to D and from D to A. So it has been subdivided into 4 electric field intensity. And the equation for the same is given over here. Between A to B, the electric field intensity. B to C, C to D and D to A. The total electric field intensity in the closed rectangular contour is going to be 0. The closed contour, as the two sides AB and CD are parallel to the tangential direction, therefore other two are normal to the boundary surface. Therefore, we will get here A to B, B to C, D to A will be equal to 0. C to D, it is just h by 2, so both it can be added, and since the width is going to be del W, we can take integration between the limit A to B, E dot dl is equal to E vector A to B dl. dl is nothing but your del W. E is nothing but your tangential component of your electric field intensity. After substituting, we will get E tan into del W. Normal component analysis. In this, En is going to be En B to C, En del H divided by 2. Once it is solved, you will get here the normal component analysis to be En is equal to E tan is equal to 0, because the normal component is going to get cancelled. Only E tan into del W will be available. Therefore, E tan is equal to 0. Thus, the tangential component of your electric field intensity is 0 between the boundary, between conductor and the free space. The tangential component of your electric field intensity is going to be 0 between conductor and the free space. Hence, the electric flux density D is also normal in the direction at the boundary between your conductor and free space. Next one will go for the normal component analysis. For normal component analysis, we will consider the Gauss's law. Gauss's law states that the electric flux coming out from the closed surface is equal to the total charge enclosed in that surface. And it should be evaluated for the Gaussian phase. Under Gaussian surface, we have to evaluate the top face, bottom face and side faces. This is going to be your boundary. Below the boundary, it is going to be the conductor. Above the boundary, it is going to be your free space. In this, it is the Gaussian cylinder. The Gaussian cylinder height is going to be delta H. It has got 3 flux density. One is your top face flux density, bottom face flux density and side faces flux density. Your top face and bottom face flux densities is going to be opposite. So if this is going to, here the flux will get enter, whereas in the top face the flux is getting leave. Therefore, we will get the equation top face and side face. Bottom face you will not get because that is a conductor. Interior to the conductor, the charge density is 0. Interior to the conductor. For that only one example before I have explained. You consider the conductor. Inside this conductor you are having a charges. like charges repel each other. Since we have like charges interior to the conductor, the charges will get repelled. When it gets repelled, all the charges will try to accelerate and it will be deposited at the top of your conductor. Therefore, interior to the conductor. So, interior to the conductor means the Gaussian cylinder is having at the bottom of the cylinder, the flux density will be equal to 0 because interior to the conductor, the charge density is going to be 0. So only we are writing it as only top face and side faces, which is equal to Q. The top face is very small, over which the dn is assumed to be constant and can be taken out of your integration. Then we will be getting only dn delta S is equal to Q. At the boundary, the charge exists in the form of surface charge density where Q is equal to rho S into delta S. When you substitute, you will get the normal value of your electric flux density will be equal to the charge density rho S. We'll get dN is equal to epsilon naught into En, which is equal to rho S. Here the normal value of electric field intensity is constant, which is equal to rho S, whereas the normal value of electric field intensity is not constant. Next we'll see the boundary conditions between your conductor and dielectric. The tangential component is equal to 0. This is going to, previously we have derived the equation, here we have summarized the equation. This comes under your tangential component analysis and these two equation comes under your normal component analysis. In case of tangential component analysis, your electric field intensity is going to get 0. Whereas in case of normal component analysis, the electric flux density is going to be equal to your surface charge density. For normal component analysis, we have to use a rectangular contour. For tangential component analysis, we have to use a rectangular contour. For normal component analysis, we will be using a Gaussian cylinder. Next one, boundary condition between two perfect dielectrics. Here also we will have a tangential component analysis and normal component analysis. In tangential component analysis, we will be analyzing their electric field intensity, whereas in normal component analysis, we will use a electric flux density. For tangential component analysis, we use rectangular contour. For normal component analysis, we will be using a Gaussian cylinder. Two analyses will be there, whether you are going to derive the boundary condition between conductor to dielectric or between two dielectrics. First one is going to be the tangential component analysis. In tangential component analysis, we are going to have 4 electric flux field intensity between A to B, B to C, C to D and D to A. All the 4 electric field intensity is added and it is equated to 0. Therefore, here when you check as delta H, it is your field, right? Here as del H approaches 0, the field between B to C and D to A is going to get vanished, and also the field between A to B is opposite to that of the field exerted between C to D. So we will get only the field due to A to B and C to D, which is equal to 0. A to B, the electric field intensity is going to be ET1 into delta W, and here the field intensity between C to D is ET2 into delta W. Both the fields are opposite, so we'll get the tangential component of your electric field intensity is going to be continuous between the boundary between the two dielectrics. Here we can say, after looking at this equation, it is understood that the tangential component of your electric field intensity between the two dielectric is going to be continuous, whereas the tangential component of your electric flux density is discontinuous. Under normal component analysis, we will be using the term, we have to use the analysis electric flux density. Here it is going to be the boundary epsilon 1 and epsilon 2, both are going to be dielectric. For normal component analysis, we will use the Gaussian cylinder. Here the bottom phase flux will get enter and top phase the flux will get leave. So the flux entering and the flux leaving is going to be get cancelled. Only the side phases flux densities will be available. Since it is going to be the dielectrics, the charge Q will be equal to 0. Therefore, we will get here side phases flux densities. Top phase flux density and bottom phase flux density means it will be negative. Sorry, here it is your Gaussian cylinder. Flux density is entering at the bottom, flux density is leaving. So if you assume this is D1 and this is to be D2, the flux density entering is kept as positive and the flux density leaving is kept as negative. Side flux densities will get cancel each other. Therefore, the side phase flux density, whatever I have shown here, it is equated to 0. Finally, we will have bottom phase electric flux density and top phase electric flux density, which is equal to Q. Since it is going to be the dielectric medium, the charge density is going to be 0. When you substitute, you will get dN1 is equal to dN2. Therefore, the normal component of your electric flux density is going to be continuous, whereas the normal component of your electric field intensity is going to be discontinuous. So when you solve it, you will be getting the answer dN1 is equal to epsilon 1 into En1, dN2 is equal to epsilon 2 into En2. When you solve it, we will get En1 by En2 is equal to epsilon 2 by epsilon 1, epsilon R2 divided by epsilon R1. So this is the statement stating that the normal component of your electric flux density is continuous in between the two dielectrics, whereas the normal component of your electric field intensity is discontinuous. This is the boundary condition stating the relationship between your electric field intensity and electric flux density and the analysis made towards electric field intensity and electric flux density. Thank you, students.